All right, everyone, welcome to the Legacy Movement Podcast. My name is Alvin Darian II, and today I want to bring to you the 5 major concerns about money. Here's a question I have for you. Have you ever had any doubts about your money? Have you ever thought about, I need to make more money? Have you ever wished you had more lifestyle? Have you ever thought about, if I made more, I can have more of something? And so today I want to break down the 5 major concerns about your money. Number 1, your bank account. Now, is your bank account a concern? Do you feel that your bank account has some relation to your lifestyle? I believe it does. Your lifestyle will be determined from your bank account. And depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to live. You know, some people make $100,000 a year and live a $200,000 lifestyle off debt. Some people live a $30,000, they make maybe $30,000 to $50,000 a year, and they live a $50,000 lifestyle. But it's all determined from your bank account. Now, how do you get money in your bank account? Well, you can have a job, you can be self-employed, you can have a business, or you can make money from your legacy. So there's only 4 ways to get money in your bank account. And the first concern is your bank account, and that has a reflection to your lifestyle. And if you can get some more of something, what would that something be? If you can have more lifestyle in this area of your life, what would that be? That's something to really think about, because the lifestyle will be on your mind, and that's the first concern. Most people log into their checking account every day. Did it change much? When you log into your bank account, do you feel broke, or do you feel like you've made it? Do you feel that, I make more than my first cousin, so I'm doing pretty good? Or do you feel like, man, I got to make some more money? Or do you feel that, wow, I wish I had more? Let me tell you a little secret here. Everybody wish they had more in their bank account. And yes, your lifestyle will be determined from how much you have in your bank account. So that's the first one. The second one is rate of return. I got to help your money go from A to B. I got to make sure, and this is very important, pay close attention to this. I got to make sure that the rule of 72 is working for you. Some of you probably thinking, the rule of 72, what is that? Let me Google it. Well, you can Google it, and you can have the information. See, a lot of people know things, but a lot of people don't do things. So with the rule of 72, that's going to determine your rate of return. I want you to have a reasonable rate of return. And if you lose money, think about this. Majority people may lose money because they don't understand how to get doubles on their money. If you want help, or if you feel you need some coaching on getting a reasonable rate of return, make sure you click on the link below. But I'll give you some insight right quick. You're going to take the number 72 and you're going to divide it by the rate of return you're receiving. And that equals how many years your money will double. So 72 divided by 1 equals 72 years. So if most of your money in the bank, it will take you 72 years for your money to double. Now, I'll go into more detail on a one-on-one basis, but I want you to know that the rule of 72 will help you get doubles on your money. And I want to help you with your age, like your current age, and also I want to help you with your amount of money that you want to double. See, the formula must custom fit you. You can Google it, you can try to figure it out on your own, but most people don't. They know it, but they don't do it. Majority people are getting less than 1%. And the last I checked, it was about 80% people getting less than 1% on their money. And then 80% people are paying more than 18% in credit card debt. So just figure that out. Number 3. Number 3 is time. Your age. That's a concern, I want you to go back to your very first paycheck. That's right. You was probably 15 years old or 16 years old, and you got a paycheck with your name on it. It had your name on the paycheck, and you was introduced to FICA, Medicare, Social Security tax, state tax, federal tax. You was introduced to that stuff, right? I remember I was working at a Carrie Higgs restaurant in Savannah, Georgia. I was right around 15 years old, and I was working 10 hours a week. And you won't believe this, but I was balling at that time. I was really balling. I was making 4.25 an hour. 4.25 an hour. And so when I multiplied 4.25 times 10, it did not add up. If you really think about it, it's like $42 a week, so it wasn't much. But I can tell you this, that money at that time meant a lot to me. So that first check, all the way till today, have you thought of your first place you work? Have you thought of your first check? Okay, now I want you to fast forward the tape all the way till today. Okay, at the time of this recording, I'm 40 years old. So look at 15 to 40 years old. And for most of you, it may be the same. You may be 50 or you may be 60 years old, depends on your age. So your very first check till today, here's the question I have for you. Are you satisfied with the amount of money you saved from your first check till today? Are you satisfied? Now, most people will say no. The second question I have, if you can go back in time and do some things differently, what would you do differently if you can go back in time? Would you save more? Would you spend less? Would you have less debt? Would you listen to your parents? Or maybe, your parents, maybe they didn't do it right. Where do we learn money? Sometimes we say, I learned from my mom, I learned from my dad, I learned from my grandparents. Who is to say that they did it right? So we look at our time. Now, we go from our first check till today. Now I want you to picture and visualize yourself at 100 years old. At 100 years old. So you go from today to age 100. Let me break this down for you. There's something on your timeline, and everybody has a financial timeline. Everybody has that. So you can't run from your financial timeline. From your first check till today, from today to age 100. Now, so from today to age 100, you're going to be in a phase called accumulation phase. That means you're making money on your money. You have energy. You're working. You're building your wealth. You're building your legacy. You go hard every day. You're working for your family. You're supporting your lifestyle, but you're putting some money aside. Remember, if you can go back in time, you would do some things differently. So now you're at accumulation phase. There's going to come a point in your life that is going to be something called distribution phase. There's going to become a part in your life that's distribution is going to make sure you have money coming in. All right, so what age would that be? So most people would say 65. Okay, great. So last I checked, 100 minus 65 is how much? 35 years. So your money must last 35 years. Will you run out of money on your timeline? Here's another question I have for you. How do you want your distribution taxed? Do you want it taxed today? Do you want it taxed later? Or do you want it taxed never? Also known as tax advantage. So when you pull money out of distribution, how do you want it taxed? So think about your first check, think about where you are today, and think about where you want to be in the future. So your timeline. So let's recap here. Number one is banks. First concern is the bank account that's attached to your lifestyle. The second concern is rate of return. The third concern is time and your age. Here's the fourth one. The fourth concern is your commitment to saving money. Are you committed to saving money for the future you? See, the you today, you're living a great lifestyle, maybe. The you today may be living a lifestyle that you don't enjoy. So if you're not enjoying your lifestyle today and you're not saving money for the future, what do you really think the future look like? So let's take a look at how much will you save today. Concern number 4 is commitment of how much money you're going to save. So in the 80s, we saved 10% of our money as a country. People saved 10% of their money. In the 90s, we saved 5% of our money. So if a person made $100,000 a year, they only saved $5,000 in the 90s. The 90s was the decade of lifestyle. People really lived great lifestyles in the 90s. In the 2000s, we only saved 2% of our money. There was a lot of ups and downs in the market. There was a lot of concerns, major concerns in the 2000s. And today, where do you think we stand as a nation saving money? Where do you think we stand? Well, that's your homework. I know the answer, but I want you to do some homework here. I want you to figure out What is the savings rate for today here in the U.S.? I want you to do the homework on that. And so, a wise man told me this, a very wise man. He said, Alvin, if you want to be poor in the future, save 10% of your money. Make sure that's your commitment. If you want to be poor, save 10%. He said, if you want to be okay, then save 20% of your money. If you just want to be okay. But if you want to be wealthy, you got to save 30% of your money or more. If you want to be wealthy, you got to save 30% of what you're currently making, or most people will never see that wealth. Most people will retire poor. And I never forgot that. At 25 years old, somebody told me that. A very wise, wealthy individual shared that with me. And then the last concern will be taxes. That's right. Taxes will be the number one threat to your money in the future. That's right. So your number one concern when it comes to your future money will be taxes. Now, all 5 of these concerns are important, but for your future will be taxes. So how do you want your distribution income taxed? Do you want it taxed now? Do you want it taxed later? Or you want to live a tax-free lifestyle? Now, I don't want to get into details because, on my podcast, I do not give client recommendations. I do not give no type of guidance of what to choose and what to pick, because I want to make sure that everything is custom tailored made. There's a lot of financial entertainers out there that want to tell you that this is the best thing for you or that's the best. Let me tell you this. Everybody cannot take the same information and use it. Everybody can't do that. So on the podcast, you're going to hear from me. I'm going to give you information that will require you to have someone that's going to guide you and help you personally. Just imagine if everybody went to the doctor and got the same medication. That's not going to work. Just imagine if everybody went to the shoe store and have the same size on. That's not going to work either. So my last concern will be taxes. Do you want your money taxed now? Do you want your money taxed later? Or do you want your money tax advantage, which means, let's back up. Let's back up here. Tax now is when your money is making money, you pay taxes on the money. So I'm not going to give you a program. I'm not going to tell you a product. I'm not going to mention a company name. That's not my style. Tax later means when the money is growing, you do not pay taxes on the growth, but you do pay taxes when you pull the money out. Also known as tax deferred or tax forever. The last category is tax advantage. Some people call it tax exempt. Some people call it tax free. Some people call it tax never. Let me tell you this. There are rules you got to go by. I call it tax advantage. That is the proper way of saying it. But you got to follow the rules, and you got to make sure that you have a financial coach, a legacy coach that can help you with these 5 major concerns. All right, first generation millionaires. All right, champions. If you want more information about the 5 major concerns about money, I want you to click on the link below and let's schedule a time. Let's talk. Let's get together. Let's personalize a legacy plan for you and your family. And let's make sure that we strategically put a strategy in place that you're going to win the money game and you're going to overcome these 5 major concerns. All right, everyone. I'm going to see you at the top because the bottom is too crowded with excuses. Take care and God bless everyone. Talk to you soon.